Alright, looking at ES futures here. It's on a 2-day chart just so I could get a little bit more definition into the volume profile. We see that last week's low price came in, tested the secondary 50 at 28.57 quarter. Also an expansive volume here just above price. We bounced on Friday into the secondary 38.2 at 29.8475 and found resistance. There we go. And also you can see a little bit better definition there on the volume profile. Point of control there at 29.23 in this time frame. Also the back test of the previous highs. But to assume that this bounce has more to it, we really do need to see it up over this 29.8475. Really, and even up over this 30-30 area where these two previous tops were. If we go ahead and put a retracement from the all-time highs down here into what we'll call a swing low for now. Here we go. Kind of the yellow ones to paint a picture of upside targets. Again, the 23.6 of that move is right there at the secondary 38.2. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that off real quick. There we go. So upside resistances 29.85, 30.61. You have a double retracement up here with the 50 and the primary 23.6 at 31.25 into 31.42. Then you have a area of extremely low volume here from 31.42 up into 31.90 or so. That's going to be the 61.8 of the pullback range, and probably will cap upside advance for a bit of time, probably actually here in between 31.25 and 31.89. I would assume somewhere in here is probably the upside cap just for the next week or two, would be my assumption, or until you get that news to break up over that. We've already got liquidity injections from PBOC in China and BOJ in Japan, and I do believe that Germany is also starting an easing project as well. So it really just leaves the US to get on board, and I would assume that we'd see that as well. And then you have FOMC meeting in 2 weeks on the 17th, where they're expected to introduce rate cuts due to the yields. So a lot of positive news moving forward. I'm not using it as a reason to not play the downside right now, but it is something that needs to be always considered. The market is forward pricing, it's not backward pricing, so the market's going to move to where it thinks a value will be, not where value is at. As far as the coronavirus goes, I'm not a doctor, so I don't like to talk about it, but I do know that the market is at a very large support point, and that the next support point in the market is down here at 27.29 to 27.50. So if we do lose the lows of last week, then that's where I expect price to be. So I can play the downside over that, or I can play a hedge against this 38.2 at 29.85, which I did going into the weekend. And if price moves lower, you can take the hedge off, and if price moves up, you can take the hedge off. But right now, I think that the best positioning is to be building into longer dated swing positions for the upside. Like I said, I would assume that we at least test 31.25 to 31.89 as resistance before we see another leg down. But obviously 29.85 is the confirmation of this short-term low. So that's what I'm looking for moving forward. A lot of news and a lot of panic. We've seen the internals almost at the very lows on the ADD all week, so feels like we're starting to get into a bottom. Certainly the daily volume suggests we're starting to see some capitulation and clearing out of accounts as well. So we'll see moving forward just how that is, and If we wanted to go ahead just real quick and put a shorter dated or a shorter time frame retracement on, just to highlight these shorter term time frames, because even though they're shorter term, we're still having a lot of range, and I think they still matter. You're talking about the bounce off the lows being from 2853 up into 3000 or so. So certainly need some levels in between there to act upon. These would be my majors. I would want to see 2907.75 hold that 61.8 off the bounce. It's just above that point of control from Friday, so we'd want to see this area continue to act as support to give a case to the bull side. If we lose that 29.07 and that point of control down there at 29.02 quarter, then I would expect us to see a roll back down into retest the double bottom and then a break below. If we do hold 29.07.75 or even 29.41.50 at the 38.2, then I would expect to see a continued press against this 29.85, the eventual break, and then the test up here into Thursday's point of control at 30.40 and the tertiary 38.2 at 30.61. So some short term, some long term, a little bit of everything for everybody except conspiracy theorists. But like I said, a lot of possible good news moving forward economically, so certainly looking for an upside bounce out of this in the coming week.